Hi guys, welcome to Andy's Rant number 2. Today I'll be ranting all over Catherine Fearns' book Reprobation. It is an older darkstroke book. I wanted to do, not old, it's not that old, but it's older than yesterday. And I wanted to do that book because Catherine's written 3 books that I am aware of in this series. And it's the first one. I'm too much of a nerd. I have too much OCD to be able to pick up book 2 and just start it, even if they aren't linked. They're certainly presented from the visual style as being all linked. So I decided I'm going to go for the first one. So I did. This was just after reading The Cry of the Lake by Charlie, which is up next week, just to get you nice and worried. And I was happy with that book, and I was in the mood for a kind of mystery, and I thought, okay, let's do Catherine's book. So, Catherine is an author in... Oh, God. I just said author in, didn't I? Yeah, yes. This is where language... Having 2 languages, and they interfere, and it comes into everyday language, and I'm just... Yeah, I said author in. I'm sorry. You're an author in. So, Catherine, the authorin, has written these 3 books, and the first one's Reprobation, and it is basically about a non-crime, I can't say crime fighter, I want to say crime fighter, you go, but I don't think it's quite like that. She's a detective, I guess you could say, a non-detective. Let me just think about that for a second. Not only is she a non-detective, or goes into that range, she's a almost Calvinist nun. She is a very strict order of nun. Catherine goes into the actual religion of it very succinctly and very well done. Right at the beginning in the opening chapters. I wrote a note here on my note machine. We call these handies, by the way, yeah? In Austria, mobile, that word doesn't exist. It's called a handy because it's in your hand and it's handy, yeah? So if I ever say handy, you know what I'm talking about. So, on my handy note, book, thing, type thing, I've written, so it's flying well, the implied threat of the deaconess is a little obvious, showing concern over something she knows about, so I think we already have our protagonist, which is easily viewable. I was very wrong. I got that totally wrong. So, Nerd Andy is not as clever as you would think he is. Not that I want to... If you've not read the book, it could be her. It's not, but it could be. So, the starting voice was well done, though she has quoted Da Vinci Code as an ironic reference to get that into our subconscious. I was not fooled by that ploy, Catherine. I saw right through that. You wanted me to have Da Vinci Code, Da Vinci Code, Da Vinci Code going around in my head, like the clever authorin that you are. But I sussed you out. Now, if you can hear some kind of strangling noises in the background, it's my cat wanting to go out the door. There, see? The joys of technology. Good cat, good cat, good cat. So anyway, the voice is fantastic. The opening, I read it and I thought, oh my god, that's a really competent use of the English language. That's the only way I can put it. It's so tight. It's very linguistic. It's just lovely to read. It flows. There's very little to pick up on. It's really well done. So, going on to another one of my notes. Browser history deletion is a little obvious that the baddie is at the mission. Now, I did think that was a little bit too obvious, Catherine. I think that we got it anyway. We were going that direction, but you didn't have to ram it into us to make sure we got it. We got it already, okay? And now I am apparently quite thick because I thought it was the deaconess, but it wasn't. Or it may be, if you haven't read this yet, it may still be the deaconess. But let's assume it wasn't. Yeah, I don't think you need to tell us. I think we got it. So, I got it. Oh, my cat's going to kill me. Please, we call her Mona because she moans the entire time. Yeah. So, I found a missing detail, and I think it's very much an Austrian nerdy detail. So this isn't a complaint, but there is a murder in the church, or a church, and they find bodies in the church, and I've written location 447, which is at 13% of the way through the Kindle version. There is a missing detail. The mark on his forehead. There was a mark on the corpse's forehead. They would already know if it was done posthumously or whilst he lived, which is important, I think. And I think I'm right in that. You can tell if a wound is inflicted on a body before or after the body has died. And because you didn't bring it up, yeah, it's something that would have been brought up in the investigation, and they would know that fairly soon. Yeah, the examining officer would certainly be able to tell you more or less straight away whether the wound was inflicted posthumously or whether it was done beforehand. But that is such a nerd thing that it didn't detract from my enjoyment of it. Now, we get into the whole mythos of cults and death metal. Basically, it's a lover's guide to death metal, and it's fantastic. The passion and appreciation of the musical genre comes straight through. We have a character, or Catherine, the authorin, has a character called Mika, who is now this is again like 3 months ago, so I apologise if I'm getting the wrong country here, but is a Swedish death metal star. If he's not Swedish, I'm sorry, but I remember it as Swedish. And I remember it because of what happened afterwards, which I have to explain to you. So she decides to go to one of his concerts, as you do, as a nun, as you do. And then the story really gets started when the two main characters get together. Now, I did say, first note, what I wrote was, Mika and the nun deciding to solve the case is awkward. She may well have gone and talked to the murderer and told him how far the police were in their investigation, and that's just dumb. And I don't believe the character is dumb, but I was reading it going, you know that he's the prime suspect in the murder, and you've just gone and told him exactly what the police think and how far they are in their investigation. That's probably not a good idea. But, you know, it works out. We like Mika, and I decided that I was going to do some nerd research because that's obviously who I am. So I went online, I went onto Google, and I just thought, okay, I'm just going to, because I mean, Swedish death metal singers, they're like a stereotype a little bit, I think. I mean, when you think of death metal, I'm not a big death metal fan. I'm certain there are more informed people out there, which is why I was on Google. But you know, I just thought, okay, I'm going to search, and I started typing in a couple of words, and obviously I got confused and typed in wrong words, which is, you know, they slipped in because I meant to write in Swedish death metal singers, and I didn't. I wrote in Swedish death metal nuns, and you are not going to believe what turned up. It is, I have discovered an entirely new genre of porn. It is unbelievable. It just never stops. The images after image after image after image. I can carry on like this because I know you're all out there now typing furiously into your computers going, death metal nuns, Swedish, damn. And it is fantastic. It is, it's definitely the happiest mistake I've made on the internet for a long, long time. And I've got to say that it occupied me for an unreasonable amount of time. And weeks later, when I was finally off my binge and I decided to try and remember why I was there in the first place, you know, I printed off all of the stuff that I found, and it didn't. That's just not. That's my script. I'm playing this up a little bit. So my point being is that it was kind of a stereotype, but I liked it. I liked it. It was. It really worked for me. It really worked for me. I don't think you could have done it if you'd have kept Micah as an English guy or an American. It worked really well. And he's likable, and I think from there on, and I've got to say, Catherine, from there on, I made absolutely no notes. You had me, you got me. From the point that you met Micah, I didn't take any notes because I was too busy reading. Okay, so it took until Micah, and then you got me. So, fantastic character work on Micah, obviously. There were elements of the story after that I thought... I don't want to say too much here because obviously, if anybody hasn't read the book, I don't want to spoil it for you. It is a mystery, and I want to keep the mystery element of that secret and not bring it out. But there were elements. The house is possible. The location is possible. The amount of time to get there was a little bit off. Also, the fight scene at the end, I have to say, worked, but I was expecting a little bit more from Micah. That's the only way I can put it. But it was because I really liked the character, and I was really hoping that he was going to be you can't say the conquering hero coming in and saving the day, but I wanted him to be more active, and he wasn't at the end. The whole premise is very believable. I think that I'm not a religious person. I don't necessarily believe in very many religious ideals, but the concept of the gene is very well done, really well represented. Yeah, I enjoyed it. If I had to summarise everything, I would say that it was really well written. That the language you are using shows how intelligent you are. If that's anything, I've got to let my cat out. Guys, it was really good. I enjoyed it. Catherine, thank you for letting me rant over it. Thank you for letting Mona rant all over it. And I shall see you another time. Bye-bye.